having a huge but silent splash today. I feel like this didn't get quite the hype that it should have gotten, but Canon just released the brand new R5C. Full frame 8K up to 60 frames per second, 4K 120 frames per second. We got 45 megapixel stills, dual native ISO, flip LCD screen, and the image looks incredible. And this is not it. It's just the R5. They haven't sent me the R5C yet. I wasn't gonna make a video on this because I don't have the camera, but I feel like it didn't get the attention that it deserved. And for me, this is what I hoped that the R5 would have been in the first place. The R5C is really the camera for me. It is, I would say, the first actual hybrid shooter camera that Canon has ever made. Up until now, they've either made photography cameras like the R5 or then cinema cameras like this beast, the C500 Mark II, which probably should be using more. It's either this or this, but not together. And it's funny because Canon really started the whole video revolution, the DSLR video revolution, but they haven't really capitalized it since then. I feel like of course they've sold a lot of cameras, but they haven't been like, hey, I'm just in the middle of filming a video.
Well, you always have time for your brother. Put a record off.
Say bye to the camera folk over there.
Bye, everybody. Miss you all.
Where were we? Hybrid cameras. I feel like this was the way to go to, where it's really more of a video camera, I feel like, first, but it also does really good photos. And the reason why I think that's the right way to go is we all know video is taking over and photography is kind of, sorry photographers, but we still need photography. We need it for thumbnails, we need it for IG, social media, all that kind of stuff. But video really is the main thing. But this hybrid thing, that's the way to go. And I can feel the pull of the R5C. I'm like, oh, that looks so enticing right now. I love trying new cameras and switching it up. And I always say I use the camera that works the best for me. And right now, the Sonys have been the best for my filmmaking. But if a better camera comes along, I have no problem switching, and I will switch fast. But there are definitely some downsides already that I see. Probably the biggest one for me is that it's actually quite big. Like the R5 is already much bigger than the Sony cameras, and the R5C is even bigger. It's got like the fan, which that is good that it has the fan and you won't have any overheating issues. That's nice, but that part scares me a little bit because these Sonys are smaller and just fit the way that I film a little bit better right now. And no IBIS. This one is gonna crush a lot of people. They're gonna be like, no! But I think it might be better actually. One of the biggest reasons I switched from the R5 to the Sony a7S III was that the wobbles were just so bad on the IBIS. It was so distracting, and then there wasn't really a good workaround where you could just turn off the IBIS but have the electronic stabilization and the lens stabilization on. So I think it might actually be better in this case. The electronic stabilization with the lens stabilization, it's actually pretty good on the Canons. And so I think, I haven't tried it, but I think it might be better this way. Oh, and the 8K 60 frames per second does have a caveat, a bit of a catch. You can film in 8K 60 frames per second, but your whole control of the lens shuts off. You don't have any power to the lens, so you don't have autofocus, you don't have control over the lens setting, which is a little bit weird. It's basically like shooting with a full manual lens. Now you can fix it though. All you need to do is plug in a different power source and then you got power. And I think a lot of people will complain about this, but first off, 8K 60 frames per second. Like, let's be honest for a second, how many of us are shooting in 8K? That's what I thought, probably not too many of us. So it's not that big of a deal, and then when you do want 8K 60 frames per second, you just plug in a power source. And so I'm usually Canon wouldn't do it this way. They would just lay down the hammer and be like, no, we're taking it off, we're not having this. I think this is better that they actually gave us the opportunity to use it if we want. There is a little bit of a catch, but you have the option. Give me the option to decide for myself whether or not I want to shoot with an extra battery power pack, whatever, on the camera. I think this is great. I'd way rather me decide than Canon decide for me what I can do with my camera. So as always, there's downsides to a camera, but so far, it's looking like a pretty amazing camera. The C70 already seems like, I haven't used the C70 again, I don't get sent these cameras anymore. But from everything I've heard, the C70 is incredible, and the R5C seems kind of like a smaller version, full frame version of that. Not quite, but pretty close, and we got incredible stills. I really want to try it out, but at the same time, I know just as well as you guys know that it's not gonna change my world, but sometimes it's just fun to try out new cameras. I've talked about it before, there's this little like spark that happens sometimes when you get a new camera in your hands and you're just like pumped to go shoot with it, and I haven't had that for a little bit, so I don't know, maybe the R5C will give me some extra, like, man, I gotta go to Iceland and shoot some epic footage or wherever. So hopefully I get my hands on it. I am still feeling a little bit skeptical. It feels like for the last couple of years, Canon's been kind of like tapping out of the whole camera industry and like kind of just like, meh, not caring about it as much, but the R5C does offer this big glimmer of hope that they haven't fully tapped out. And I'm just hoping for like a mad scrap battle for the last remainder of the camera nerds, because that just means we're gonna get better cameras to use for whatever we're doing. My question is, who do you think is gonna be the first company to fully utilize AI technology in their cameras? Who's gonna be the first one to really bring forth computational photography to the mirrorless pro cameras? Because that's gonna be game changing. That is the next step that they need to take. I hope it happens really soon, because again, it means more options for us. There really is absolutely no excuses. Boys and girls, all you need to do, learn, make, repeat. We have so many cameras and tools that we can use to make, you could literally make like a feature film right now with so little. I gotta say, I like technology. All right, this was probably a short video. I hope you're okay with my little thoughts on the Canon R5C. I just wanted to shed some light because I feel like it deserved a little bit more. So yeah, all right, I'll see you guys. Please, Canon, maybe send one. First try.